Hello everyone, Lisa Salvatore here to talk to you about the astrology and the energies of the first half of February with a specific emphasis on the full moon in Leo. Before we dive right into it, welcome to all of my new subscribers. It is lovely to have you here, and welcome back to my existing subscribers. For those that might not be familiar with me, I'm an intuitive, an astrologer, and a medium. I read the language of the cosmos while also listening to spirit, weaving foresight and soul guidance to help you move forward with trust, validation, and clarity. So let's dive right in. February arrives with electricity in the air. This is not a quiet month, and it is not meant to be. Where January helped us lay foundations, February presses the accelerator. This month, we enter the first eclipse season of 2026, and with that comes movement, revelation, and divine redirection. This is the kind of month where life speaks a little louder through signs, synchronicities, endings, and beginnings, and sudden pivots that seem unexpected but are not accidental. There is bold heart energy here, intuitive waters rising, and powerful initiations beginning. Saturn shifts signs, Uranus stirs awake, Mercury and Venus both move into Pisces, and we experience a potent solar eclipse new moon in Aquarius that reminds us that we are not here to repeat old timelines. All of that to say, February is not asking you to chase. It's asking you to align, to trust. Trust the pivots especially. They are not detours. They are destiny unfolding. And one of my favorite Lisa-isms, as I call them, or one of my quotes, redirection is divine protection. Strong theme for February. This is the kind of energy that I work with week by week on my podcast. And if you feel called to go deeper, my Soul Scribers community offers monthly sign-by-sign guidance, live gatherings, and ongoing support as we move through it all together. If you like working intentionally with the cycles, my 2026 astrology guide and journal is available as a companion for reflection and grounding. It is available on Amazon. The link will be in the description box below. This reading will encompass the first half of February. We start the month off very loudly with a bold, fiery full moon in passionate, heart-centered Leo. This full moon is loud. It is dramatic. It wants us to lead with love. It wants us to be in our heart, but to also use our head. The opposite sign of Leo is Aquarius, and that is how we have a full moon when the sun and the moon are in opposition with each other. At the same time as we begin this month, the planet Uranus is what we call stationary. Uranus is getting ready to station direct, to wake up. Uranus is the planet of excitement, electricity, freedom, liberation. Oh, and also disruption, but think of it as divine disruption. And as mentioned, we are entering eclipse season. Change is the name of the game. Change is upon us collectively and personally. This is the kind of energy that rearranges timelines. We have to trust the flow. Emotionally and energetically, the collective has a restless undertone to it. We are all likely feeling emotionally exposed, yet intuitively tuned in and ready for action, even if we don't know exactly what that looks like yet. We're entering the waters of Pisces as we move throughout the month. And Pisces energy always increases psychic awareness, sensitivity, empathy, and compassion. And it can also make us a little wee bit too sensitive at times. Well, as we start this month off with our full moon in Leo, the sun in Aquarius, this full moon is asking us for utmost authenticity and courage. If you're feeling uncertain, overwhelmed, and just a little shut down from life, from others, you are not alone. Confusion is a part of this recalibration. Let's dive right into the first half of February. The full moon on February 1st is occurring at 13 degrees and 3 minutes of Leo, and I'll go ahead and pull up the chart in a moment here. It occurs at 5:09 p.m. Eastern time, so obviously adjust the time for your time zone, for your location. It's the first of the month. The first of the month is where we set intentions for the month ahead. It's a full moon. This is also about a culmination of energies and release, a huge focus on heart energy, Leo. You'll want to look to your birth chart, to the part of your chart that contains 13 degrees of Leo. I've got a birth chart generator linked in the description box below where you can pull up your birth chart. You can locate where this full moon will fall for you. And I have a how-to tutorial on how to locate these energies in your chart. It is free. It is also linked in the description box along with a guide through the houses of the birth chart. And for those that might not know, just to simplify, when I teach my astrology courses, one of the themes that I constantly reiterate, think of it like this. The planets show us what is happening energetically. The signs that the planets occupy show us how the energy is manifesting, how it could be manifesting. And then the houses where these energies occur is where the energy is manifesting, the areas of life. Hope that helps. Again, all of this is in that video linked in the description box below. You'll want to know where this full moon falls for you because this is where you're going to be likely feeling already this buildup of energy and this illumination of something. Something wants to break free from your consciousness, wants to be born, reborn, and wants to come out strongly, loudly, and proudly. This is not the time to play it small for any of us. Our voices matter, our hearts matter. Aquarius, the opposite sign of Leo, that's the sign that the sun is in right now. Aquarius is all about community. It's how we serve the people. Aquarius is about the people coming together, the collective consciousness. There's lots of illumination occurring right now, all across the world. We're going to go ahead and pull up the chart and we're going to go through where this full moon falls for you by your rising sign and what this could mean, represent, or how it shows up in your reality. Leo full moon taking place right as the month begins, right as the month opens up, February 1st, 5:09 p.m. Eastern Time. We see over here, not only is the sun in Aquarius, but we've got quite the pileup of Aquarian energy here. Stelliums galore. Stelliums is 3 or more planets clustered closely in the same sign. We've got, as you can see, quite a bit of Aquarian energy, forward-thinking, inventive, innovative, a little eccentric, out there, thinking outside of the box, having a vision for a brighter future for ourselves and for the world overall. This is such a big time that we are in, that we are living through. This is why we're all feeling jazzed up in many different ways and uncomfortable. It's time to be the most active participant that you can be in your own reality, first and foremost, but also your community. The sun is here at 13 degrees and 3 minutes of Aquarius, and the moon is directly opposite at 13 degrees, 3 minutes of Leo. This is how we have the full moon. We've got Uranus up here, stationary at 27 degrees of Taurus. Uranus will station direct here in just a little bit. So the seismic activity is absolutely rocking and rolling, increased solar flares, solar energy, geomagnetic storms. This is absolutely contributing to feelings of restlessness throughout the collective. Not only us humans, but the animals especially are really feeling this. Appetites are all over the place. Sleep is all over the place. Anxiety, restlessness, palpitations. Our systems are recalibrating to keep up with the frequencies. And with Uranus getting ready to station direct, this can just feel that much more heightened. Mercury's in Aquarius, Venus is in Aquarius, the Sun, Vesta, Mars and Pluto are still aligned. So there's a heat present. So whatever comes up, comes through around this time, it's coming through loudly. It's coming through dramatically to get you to understand something differently, a different perspective. And as long as it's aligning with your truth and it's what's in your heart, even if others don't agree with it, you will not go wrong. This full moon asks us to be honest, passionately honest with ourselves, first and foremost, and with others. We are being reminded to stoke our creative fire and lead with our hearts. Trust what makes you feel alive. While this full moon will affect everyone, it will be most potent for our fixed signs, our fixed points and placements, especially between 11 and 15 degrees. Fixed signs are Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. This full moon, especially for these energies, for the fixed energies, fixed placements, is illuminating something that needs to be expressed. And it's really time to trust and follow those creative impulses, to trust the intuition. It's guiding you toward your destiny. Now, is this going to feel fabulous and pretty and not dramatic at all? Probably not. As you can see here, this full moon is opposing all of this Aquarius energy. It's not only opposing the sun, it's opposing Venus, it's opposing Mercury, it's opposing Chariklo, the sister to Chiron. This supports our healing. It's opposing Mars and Pluto. A little bit wide, but it's still, we're going to count that because it's a part of the pack here. It's part of the Aquarian pack. The moon opposing all of this Aquarius energy. Think of it like it's pressuring us to define what feels right and good and true for us, for our soul. Leo is all about the soul. S-O-L, the sun. Leo's ruled by the sun, but also our soul. S-O-U-L, our consciousness. What do we really want? Are we living out of our heart space? Are we honoring the needs of our soul along with the needs for others? Are we being too selfless or are we being too selfish? What's the balance like between these areas of our lives? There's a push-pull here, absolutely. And there can be feelings of anxiety and stress attached to this. Good, that's what fuels change. That's what instigates us forward. With both Mars and Venus opposing this moon, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, how we connect, how we attract, how we take action, we're being asked to truly move from overthinking, from living in our heads, and moving much more deeply into our hearts. It's about finding harmony between head and heart, ego and soul, ourself and others. And with this Moon-Pluto opposition here, even though wide, we're still feeling the heat of this. Intense emotions can be coming up to the surface, can be bubbling up from the surface. And this can feel deeply uncomfortable because we can feel like a nerve is being exposed. There's an invitation here to go deep within and truly recognize our defense mechanisms, the patterns that keep us stuck. Although sometimes they feel safe, they're not really right for us or comfortable. It's about our fears, our struggles that we have, and the needs that we hold that we avoid, potentially for the sake of others. So all of these feelings can be amplified under this full moon. Whatever we're feeling is going to be dramatized, for better or worse. The challenge here with the Leo-Aquarius opposition is to feel it all and practice being in the moment and being present with our feelings, and to avoid detaching and desensitizing and trying to make sense and rationalize what we're feeling. Also, not to suppress or intellectualize what we're feeling. Leo asks us to feel, while Aquarius asks us to deal. It's not the same thing, but we have to feel it and deal with it in order to heal it. Uranus here at 27 degrees of Taurus is squaring Mercury. This will not help communication, potentially travel, especially in the US, throughout the US, I should say. Lots of wind, ice, and rain, more than typical. And in parts of the world where this is not the norm, we're going to be seeing an increase of that as we move throughout this month. It will likely be very heightened around this full moon. But with Uranus's energy so pronounced right now, so loud, and we also have to take notice of the fact that Uranus is the modern day ruler of Aquarius. So this is a Uranus-ruled full moon to an extent. And because Uranus is squaring both Mercury and Venus, it's also in a supportive aspect with both Saturn and Neptune, which is helpful. That's also going to contribute to the wet weather and to the increase in seismic activity, absolutely. Now, positively speaking, and on the personal front, what's available to us is a higher level of intuitive understanding and experience, sudden awakenings and complete shifts in perspective, potentially disruptions, but remember, divine disruptions, although most likely they will be unexpected disruptions. And these could absolutely challenge our attachment to what we know, what's comfortable, while also forcing us awake in an area of our lives where we may have been asleep, consciously or unconsciously. So lots of potential for sudden realizations and change, the ability to make changes that have been long awaited. Information can come through with this full moon that helps to launch you forward. Expect unexpected conversations, communications, news that could absolutely challenge our perception of reality right now and challenge the way that we communicate, the way that we think, the way that we absorb, the way that we learn, who we listen to, what we listen to, and where we're genuinely and authentically aligned. There's also a grounding presence here as Uranus is harmonizing with both Saturn and Neptune. This is helping us trust our intuition. It's also helping us to stay anchored in the present moment, to be in our bodies, and to remain in our space of discernment, of course, and also compassion for ourselves and for others. I can't help but pull this in, the chart of the United States, and the way that this full moon could potentially impact the financial markets with more disruptions and instability. We also have the anticipated government shutdown on the 30th, right at the precipice of this full moon as it's building. The United States is currently working on passing a crypto bill, on passing the Clarity Act. Around this full moon, we could receive very surprising and potentially, shocking news, disruptive news from the global financial markets, specifically in regards to digital assets and digital currencies. If you take a look at this chart, the inner wheel here is the Sibley chart, the chart for the United States of America. Astrologers use July 4th, 1776, 5:10 p.m. in Philadelphia. And then the outer ring is this full moon in Leo and how it could potentially impact the US, what's being highlighted, what's being illuminated. And remember, this is not a one and done energy. This is a culmination of what has been going on in the darkness, in the background. The full moon illuminates, it brings to light, and it's Leo. So it's going to be big. It's going to be public. Leo's also about leaders, the world stage. We've got all this Aquarius energy, power to the people, how the people deal with things. The second and eighth axis here, the second house, eighth house, is the financial axis in the astrology chart, in astrology charts in general. And we've got the full moon in the eighth house of the United States, finances, interactions with others, financial investments on all fronts, digital currencies, foreign affairs, South Node in Virgo up here in the ninth house. We've got that Mars-Pluto conjunction hitting the money house of the United States, the values, the face. The sun is here in Aquarius, Venus as well. Venus rules over money, finances, and it's in the Venus house here, the second house. Uranus, by transit, stationary direct, is transiting the sixth house of the US chart. The US is going to also see its Uranus return officially as Uranus enters Gemini soon. But Uranus by transit right now at 27 degrees of Taurus is in a trine, an exact trine to Pluto in the Sibley chart here at 27 degrees of Capricorn. Interesting because Taurus rules over money, the second house rules over money. Pluto is transformation, and in Capricorn, this is big. This is political transformation, financial transformation. But a trine is a supportive aspect, typically. So let's see how this pans out. Either way, we know there's going to be disruption here, volatility. There already is. This shall continue, but we'll likely hear something in regards to that Clarity Act that has been in the process for a little bit here. And our current leader of the US is also a Leo. I'm not going to bother pulling in that chart for various reasons. I don't want to get political, but I just wanted to point out the way that this full moon could potentially impact the financial markets here in the US, also other parts of the world, but this was really the only one that I looked at for the moment. Another aspect that we have here, this full moon in Leo, is aligned with dwarf planet Varuna, and Varuna is opposing the sun, of course, and then obviously all of this Aquarius energy over here, all of these Aquarius planets. And we know that the full moon in Leo is going to highlight self-expression, bravery, and stepping into our personal power. Authenticity is encouraged, showcasing our natural talents, and leading with our brave heart. With Varuna present, Varuna, dwarf planet Varuna, represents oceanic energy. It's about the water. Varuna is linked to the great waters and cosmic order. So having Varuna aligned with this full moon just adds this level of depth and magnitude, and also inevitability to the emotional expressions to this Leo energy, to this Leo full moon. Even bigger than that, whatever you're feeling around this full moon, whatever is coming up for you, whatever heart-centered expressions of energy coming up from the soul, this is all suggesting that your personal Leo-driven emotional revelations are part of a much larger story, a much larger or fated cosmic shift. Creative energy, emotional energy, leadership energy, and breakthroughs are really high right now. And it can even feel a little bit overwhelming. So if you need to take a step back and really feel into the emotion, talk, write, sing, be in your creative energy. And as this is opposing all of this Aquarius energy here, this is about embracing our own, perhaps even unconventional, too much energy, because our too much is exactly what this world needs right now, in higher vibration, of course. And like Varuna suggests, because Varuna is very oceanic, this is a very strong time to set boundaries based on your inner truth and allow your influence, your energy, and your emotion to flow. Uncontained, just like water. Higher order, higher purpose to everything that is coming up and going on right now. Don't you feel that? Wouldn't you agree? The time has come for all of us to be a much more active participant in our own reality, to be the co-creator of our destiny with spirit. So this is a great full moon to set intentions under. What is it that we need to wish to release that is no longer serving our soul, serving our spirit? And what would we like to call in? What do we need to remove so that we can get to the place where we genuinely want to be? And that will be different for everyone. We all have our own unique birth chart and our own unique soul path. Here's where this full moon will fall for you by your rising sign. Always follow your rising sign first for most accuracy, and then you can absolutely follow your sun sign and your moon sign if you know it. That video below goes into more detail about why, and it shows you how, so please be sure to check that out. If you are Aries rising, this full moon will illuminate your 5th house of creativity, love, hobbies, adventure, what your inner flame burns for, whom and what it burns for. This is about any children in your life, your own inner child, your creative expression. Taurus rising, this full moon illuminates your 4th house, very personal. This is your emotional world, your feelings, your foundation, literal, emotionally, physically, spiritually, what feels safe, what feels like home. There's also a strong emphasis on the personal and public life balance, whether that's your career and your home, what you're doing out in the world, how you live your life. This is what this full moon will highlight. Gemini rising, this full moon is illuminating your 3rd house of communication and expression. The way we think, the way we speak, creative outlets, our community, that which we're a part of, that which we wish to express, and how we do so. There's also an emphasis here on colleagues, family members such as cousins, siblings, and those that present as such, those that hold strong placeholders in our lives that are a part of our day-to-day reality. Music also features strongly for our Gemini risings under this full moon. Cancer rising, this full moon is illuminating your 2nd house of self-worth, values, finances, your overall health and well-being, and your connections. Leo rising, this full moon is your moon. It's illuminating your 1st house of self, of expression, of consciousness, of the way you move out and about in the world, in your daily life. Are you comfortable with your persona? Are you comfortable with how you're known? What are you striving to accomplish? This is a fabulous full moon for you for release and intention setting. Virgo rising, this full moon is illuminating your 12th house, which is like the dark closet of our soul. So you can find yourself doing some heavy emotional integration and lifting under this full moon. A lot coming to the surface for you. Go gentle on yourself and try not to overanalyze what is coming up for you. Just try to be in it. Spiritual solitude is your savior at this time. Libra rising, this full moon's illuminating your 11th house of community, friendships, networks, groups that you're a part of, charity work, anything that you're trying to build, to create. Very powerful full moon for you for creation. Anything with online communities, digital marketing, launching, lots coming to the forefront for you under this full moon. Scorpio rising, this full moon is illuminating your 10th house of your public roles, the projects that you're working on, your career if you have one, your vocation if you have one. Also a strong emphasis, like I said for Taurus, on the work-home life balance, the personal and public roles that you carry, that you hold, family dynamics, opportunities here for change. Sagittarius rising, this full moon is illuminating your 9th house of long-term hopes, projects, courses that you'd like to enroll in, any certifications, anything new that you'd like to learn, anything education-based, formal or informal. There's lots of realizations occurring for you around this full moon, giving you a broader perspective of the world at large. Beliefs could be shifting, and you could surprise yourself. You can find yourself getting more and more involved within your community, with using your voice, with impacts for positive change. Capricorn rising, this full moon is lighting up your 8th house, a very uncomfortable private space of the chart of your life. You're going to likely be feeling a lot of emotions around this full moon, like it or not. Sit with it, be kind to yourself, meditate, pray, have faith. This could also have a very strong focus on intimacy, emotional intimacy, physical intimacy, spiritual intimacy, financial intimacy. You may find yourself deeply enmeshed and aware of what you hold and what you have with others, legally, also intimately. Aquarius rising, this full moon is illuminating the area of your life that has to do with relationships and connections and communications, collaborations of all kinds, and most importantly, the one that you hold with self. There's a mirror being held up to you. Do you like what you see? Do you like what you feel? A key word here is for you to feel. And last but certainly not least, Pisces rising. This full moon is illuminating your 6th house of your daily life, your health, your habits, your practices, your routines, the physical, of course, and also the spiritual, that which keeps you elevated, that which keeps you right. You may be changing things around, or it could become very evident to you where you need to change things around. Health and wellness is a strong focus on all fronts, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Moving on from the full moon, I didn't mean to have that be so long, but moving on from the full moon, Uranus stations direct just 2 days later on February 3rd at 9:33 p.m. Eastern Time at 27 degrees and 28 minutes of Taurus. And Uranus stations in a sextile with Saturn. So there's a very strong focus and emphasis on around clarity surrounding release. So whatever comes up under the full moon is going to feel heightened, it's going to feel illuminated, electrifying, and there will be change, clarity surrounding that. I would expect the first 10 days of February to be quite volatile when it comes to the stock market, when it comes to travel, specifically air travel, especially surrounding delays. So just stay on top of everything. Triple check your credit card statements. We're getting ready for a Mercury retrograde this month, which will be messy. So now is the time to really take notice, back up your files, check in on everything of utmost importance, keep it tight, because some unexpected blunders could come up, disruptions with electricity, disruptions with power, increased solar activity, all of it. Ground, get outside, breathe the fresh air. Sounds so simple, but drink your water. Connect and then also disconnect. Disconnect from tech. Connect more with nature. Mercury enters Pisces on February 6th. And Mercury in Pisces, we take the planet of communication and information, and we put it in the sign of Pisces. Pisces is a water sign, very intuitive, very tuned into the subtleties and the vibrations of what's under the surface. This is about what's not being said directly. It could be very indirect, and it could be a little confusing. It could be a little nebulous. And so Mercury here is like we're talking underwater. It could feel like that. Mercury then enters its shadow period, which means it's pre-retrograde shadow zone on February 11th. And this is where things, all communication-wise, can start to feel wonky. And then Mercury stations direct on February 26th. And I'll go into more of that in the second half of February. But that is when Mercury will officially station direct. But we're going to really start to feel this around the 10th, I would say. Middle of the month, going into the middle of the month. Mercury, the trickster planet, is moving into a sign that it does not function optimally in. Doesn't mean it's bad. Just means it struggles a little bit more to get its words out, to get its point across, to get the information accurate. So we want to just, again, triple check, double check everything coming in, the sources that they're coming in through. And we're going to want to really protect our peace, of course, but also our physical health. Lots of nasties running around at this time. Circulating around, I should say. Venus also enters Pisces on February 2nd. Venus is exalted in Pisces. She loves to be in Pisces. We can create from the heart, compassionately. It's very colorful. It's very loving. It's very open. And then another biggie, Saturn enters Aries on February 13th at 7:11 p.m. Eastern Time. And Saturn will remain officially in Aries now until April of 2028. So you know what I'm going to say. Check your chart for where Aries, the Aries area is, because you're going to get the Saturn transit here and also Neptune. And they're going to be together, sparking a whole new dimension, a whole new area of your life opening up for you, where you are the leader, you are the authority, you are your boss. We are bossing up by where the Aries area of our chart falls. Now, does that mean it's going to be amazing all the time and it's not going to stretch and challenge us? Of course not. It's Saturn. Saturn stretches us. Saturn places the boundaries. Neptune dissolves the boundaries. Saturn is the reality and Neptune is the dream. Having these two together in Aries, the bold pioneer, the visionary, it can be very lovely. We just have to own, honor, and pull into our own strength. If you have your Saturn in Aries, you are entering what we call the Saturn return, which is an invitation to refine yourself, refine oneself, refine the path. I have two really great videos, very detailed, that I have done with another astrologer and friend of mine, and they are linked in the description box below. You should definitely check them out if you want to know more about Saturn and also what this transit can mean for you. And I will definitely be talking more about Saturn in Aries, this transit, more deeply with my soul scribers. So come on and join us. You can find all the information below. All of this is occurring As we're gearing up towards the first eclipse of 2026, we're entering eclipse season, and we're going to have a solar eclipse, a new moon, an annular solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius. So everything is amplified. But what's really amplified is this feeling of this desire to network, to communicate, to connect with those that are of common mindset. So much Aquarius happening here. And this eclipse is the first one that's going to start off the eclipses on the Aquarius Leo cycle. If that goes over your head, don't worry about it. I will come back with more details on that to simplify. But just know, think of it like this. It's about the power of ourselves and then the power that we take, that we pull and push into the collective. This is about power of community, the power of the people, what we can do when we work together. Aquarius is a very accepting sign. It accepts everyone, faults and all. The more eccentric, the better. But it can also be a very stubborn sign and very fixed on its beliefs and on its opinions. We all hold Aquarius energy somewhere in our charts, somewhere in our lives. How can we work together? Neptune and Saturn now moving into Aries. This is redefining leadership on all fronts. Oh, one more important thing about the full moon, it's Leo full moon. Leo, ruled by the sun, this represents leaders of all kinds, those in positions of power, those that are out there publicly. So when there are things that are being done that are unjust or segregating certain groups of people, a lot will be coming up this month, especially around this full moon, where there are those that are not leading with the right intention, with love and authenticity, there will be a lot of exposure. There's a lot of cracks in the surface that are coming up right now, all across the world. Be sure to go and check out my 2026 forecast. I'm going to link that below because the Saturn-Neptune conjunction goes a little bit more deeply into that. But we're going to see a lot of stripping of power, not specifically right at this full moon, but over the next 2 years. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be intense. And so it's like one of these energies, when you're on the plane and they tell you fasten your seatbelt in case of turbulence, it's like that. You want to keep your seatbelt fastened at all times. You want to remain aware. You're not going to put your head in the sand, but you're also not going to react to every single thing. And we're going to focus on what we can control, which is what's in here. So that's the first half of February. Lots going on. Take really good care of yourself. I will be back soon with part 2 for February. Energetically, it is a lot. So pull into your spiritual practices that keep you up, that keep you right. Those little rituals and those routines. Ritual and routine can be as simple as waking up in the morning and having your first cup of coffee by the window, watching the sunrise. That could be your ritual. Or just having that cup of coffee can be your ritual. Ritual doesn't have to be so busy. It doesn't have to be so big or elaborate. It's what's habitual to you that makes you feel good. And that's personal. So stay with those routines that keep you right, that keep your spirit up, no matter what anybody else says about them. Unless, of course, they're super toxic to others, but you know that. I don't have to get into all that. Okay, take really good care, and I will see you all soon. Bye.